Hello and welcome to the Self-Empowered Podcast. I'm Abby Marie and today I want to talk about something a little bit different, something that you might not know about me. So I have self-published a cookbook. Now this book is for food allergy awareness. So both of my children were born with milk and soy protein intolerance. So what that is their little bodies are intolerant to the actual protein in the milk. Okay, so the difference is, so you have so you have normal milk, so full cream milk, say, and then you have lactose free, so that's where they're taking the lactose out of it and they're just keeping the protein. So my kids are allergic to the protein in there, meaning that they couldn't have so many of your dairy products. Now, the other part of MSPI is also soy protein, so they're also allergic to soy. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of soy products anyway. However, there is soy or milk protein are in so many store products, like so many. And the reason why I'm talking about this today is because it is coming up to Christmas. There is I'm not sure about you, but I know in my family, we love food. We're big foodies. So this is a time, and I find this with holidays and birthdays and things like that, is that there's a lot of focus on the food, and it can feel quite daunting if you don't know what foods are safe to feed for your kids who have allergies, or even if you've got food allergies as well and you're like, oh, here we go, we're coming up to the holidays, here I'm going to have, massive stomach pains or be getting my migraines or, having these flare-ups because you're, eating foods that are not, your body isn't aligned with, it's not liking them. So something that I want to share. So when I found out that my kids had food allergies, so my son, he was 7 months old when he was diagnosed. Now that's 7 months of being in pain, and because my breast milk, I was at the time I was drinking cow's milk, and I was, having soy products and things like that. So my breast milk was making him unwell, and he would have I remember he would sleep in one of those little baby chairs, like the little rocker chairs, but he'd have to sleep upright because when he laid down, there would be so much pain in his belly because his belly was just so swollen and full of so much gas and so much pain. And I remember going to the doctors and speaking to people and even, family and friends and other mums, and we're like, what is going on? Why is this happening? Why is he crying so much? Why is he projectile vomiting? He was also getting a lot of cradle cap at the same time. And, it was like, right, well, if you broke it all down, all of these are all just individual normal things. Maybe he's a little bit colicky. Maybe that is just cradle cap. Maybe I had just eaten something, like if I'd ate too much broccoli, maybe that was causing him to have wind. All of these, unsure of what the cause of the symptoms could be. But pretty much at the end of it was, but that's normal. Okay, so he'll grow out of it, or just try this little thing, but it's normal. And I remember there was this one time, so after, 7 months of pain, and his stool samples, his poo and his nappy, okay, I'm going to get a bit real with you here. I'm going to go into a little bit of some information, but, they were very, very runny and they smelt so bad. And, again, it's, oh, that's normal, or maybe he's teething, or, babies are supposed to be, pooing 8 times a day. And it was like, hang on a minute, this just didn't feel right. Have you had that mum's instinct, your gut, where you're like, this just doesn't feel right. Something is different. And you go to the doctors or you go see people and they're like, no, that's fine. And then you start to, go into your mind a little bit, am I over exaggerating? What is, am I, what is happening? Let me know if you can relate to this. Yeah. Where you have this feeling, and this doesn't have to be about parenting. It can be about anything in life where you have that gut feeling, that intuition telling you no, you're this isn't right, or keep moving forward, or, you're getting those those whispers from the universe or those signs just saying like, no, I need to keep searching. I need to keep finding. Now, that's what I was getting. And I was like, I know this isn't right. I don't know what right is. Like, I was a first-time mum, didn't really have many people around me who had newborn babies, right? So I was like, oh, but inside I was like, this can't be right. This seems too much. Like, sleeping in a chair, for 7 months, it doesn't feel right, because when you lay down on your back, you're screaming in pain. Like, pretty sure it would have been in the handbook. So anyway, so what had happened though is that he started to get blood and mucus in his nappies. And I remember kind of when I found it, and it wasn't a lot of blood, right? But it was just enough. It was just a couple of little streaks, enough for you to go, that's blood. That's not okay. So again, going back to the doctors and things and getting questioned about it, and, are you sure it was blood? Are you sure it wasn't just red cotton? All of that, the questioning where it's like, hang on a minute, I know what I saw. Okay. And so eventually, when he did another sample, I was able to take a sample of that, and we got tested, and it was like, yes, okay, blood, awesome. I'm on the right track. My gut's right. What I'm seeing with my eyes is right. Like having that faith in yourself again, of just being like, no, I'm not just doing that. I'm going to do some air quotation here of like, new mum mindset, or like baby brain. No, it's like, I know what I saw, and, now we have, positive results of this. But the thing is that it's like, okay, well, what do we do now? What is it? What's causing it? So at that time, we'd popped him on formula. And so we were like, okay, well, maybe he is allergic to milk. Like, let's just find that out. So took him off the formula and just put him on, non-dairy formulas. And he was still getting sick. I'm like, what is happening now? Like, why isn't this okay? And it wasn't until I started to do some research into the formulas, and I was like, what is the key ingredient that is in all of these formulas that we're missing out on? What are we missing? And what I found out, and I want to share this as sharing some awareness in case you didn't realize this as well, but kind of your conventional formulas, they all had soy in them. And I kind of went back to the doctor and I was like, look, we've tried the lactose free, we've tried the goat's milk, we've tried this, we've tried that, and even just like, because the reason why we stayed on the formula was because I tried just, pure milk and the A2 milk and all of this, and that wasn't working, right? And there was even back then when I do like, I wasn't even doing the almond milk because we weren't sure if he was allergic to almonds, or it was too early to start bringing in the nuts as well. Back then, this is what I was thinking in my mind. And so, we found out it was all soy. So then that's when we went to, like, I finally was getting referred to a pediatrician and an allergy specialist. And because we'd done these blood tests and it was showing like they weren't allergic, but yet they were having these symptoms. So then that's when he was diagnosed with MSPI. So milk protein and soy protein intolerance. So the intolerance won't show up positive on most allergy tests because he doesn't get anaphylactic from it, but he is so intolerant. And then what was happening with the mucus and the blood was his intestines doing their natural response when there's a foreign body in there. Okay, so what happens is the intestines will create extra layers of mucus to try and push out what is not meant to be in the gut, right? But what was also happening is that because it was 7 months of it, that's when the blood was coming in. We were damaging the little cells inside of his intestines because he was having a food that he was intolerant to. So once we kind of worked that out and we found a formula that was safe for him, everything started to come back to normal. It was like within one bottle, he was this happy baby. He wasn't crying or screaming. He was eating. It was amazing. It was so great. So then that's when we found out. It's like, all right, cool. So we've got the formula. That's awesome. Now what? So then I'd go to the shops. All the cake mixes have either got milk or soy in them. Or like if you wanted to make anything. Pastries all had soy or butter in them, which is the milk. The cereals, most of them had milk or soy in them. There was so much. And then my daughter was born, and she was at 3 weeks old showing the same symptoms. So we're like, right, jump straight into it, popped her on some new formula. Everything was fine. She was also diagnosed with it as well. So then at that moment, we started to bring in some rice, so the rice milk, to try with them, because they had tried the almond milks and some other nut milks, but they were also reacting to them too. And we're like, why is this happening? So we do the rice milk, and everything's fine for a little while. And then they start getting all these welts all over their bodies and these burns. And we're like, what is this? And they come up being allergic or intolerant to rice. So it's called FIBES, so FPIES for pies. So that's like another type of different food allergy or food intolerance from things that you kind of don't really think about, from foods that are outside of your normal, quotation, normal food allergies, like you'll see, I know at school with the kids now, it's like there's signs saying no peanuts, like peanuts is an allergy in food that a lot of people are very wary of, same with wheat as well. But when you've got rice and soy, they're kind of not really spoken about, which is why I really make it, it's my passion to share this knowledge with people, because if you're going through these symptoms, even with yourself, as an adult, or if you've got a baby that has these symptoms and you've done kind of the allergy test, or you've done the food testing and nothing is making sense, go and check it out, okay? FPIES. Right? Some people are allergic to apples. I think it was called the apple and the pear symptoms or something like that, which is also another one of my daughters that she can have. But it's even she's allergic to fructose, so if she has too much natural fruits, she comes out in these huge reactions. And it's why this is really important as well is that when we are eating foods that our body is intolerant to or allergic to, or it doesn't agree with them, it also affects our hormones, okay? So then we start spiking or decreasing in our hormones, which, it's a knock-on effect. So it's just so amazing how one small thing that can be simply changed by, removing that ingredient can have a huge impact on someone's life. And there are so many people out there who don't even know that they're allergic to it or intolerant to it. But then also as well, when it comes down to the food labels, that's another thing. It's another thing as well. So according to the Australian food standards, the labeling standards, if it's not made with a certain percentage of that ingredient, they don't have to list it as an allergen. So for example, vegetable oil, vegetable oil I think is made with say 2.5% of soy in it, most vegetable oils. But because the soy is not one of the main ingredients in the vegetable oil, they legally or technically don't have to list it. Now, you'll have a look on websites and they might say 2.5% is not enough to cause a reaction. However, 2.5% is enough to cause a reaction in my children, okay? So this is another thing that I'm just sharing with you, that it's just really important, I feel, as a parent, to be able to really understand what is going on with food allergies or food intolerances and understand what's in your food. Now, when all this happened, and, we're going back 10 years ago, and I remember just being in the shops or going to restaurants, and there was nothing the kids could have. And I was like, this is so frustrating that, I just wanted to have something that the kids could just have and enjoy, or, even birthday parties, or like I mentioned, coming up to Christmas and Easter, going Easter, you couldn't buy any chocolate eggs. You know what I mean? So it was what are the kids going to have, So thank goodness for the Easter bunny who knows how to make milk and soy protein intolerant chocolates. But this is where I kind of decided, and it was in that moment I was like, I'm going to share my knowledge now. So what I was doing is I was making all the kids' meals from scratch, and I was finding that hidden ingredients, or the patterns, actually, the patterns of what ingredients are safe to use, what ingredients aren't safe to use, and what ones are essential to make it happen. Okay, so then what I would do is I would start to get really creative, and I would go to all the op shops and my friends' houses and everywhere and get as many cookbooks as I could. I have so many. And then I would go through each of those recipes and break it down and start making all of these recipes from the hundreds of recipe books that I have. So then what I did as well, so once that was working, I was like, great, okay. And the thing that I love making the most, I love baking. I love making anything sweet, and my kids, they love it too. So the first thing, because when we found out that Oliver was allergic, like, what am I going to make for a birthday cake? I was like, what am I going to make for school lunches? Like, what am I doing? Like, I don't know what to do. And I remember his first birthday cake was actually a watermelon. So I'd cut the watermelon into a shape of a number 1, and I just put like all toys and all farm animals and candles. And that was his first birthday cake. And then we did cupcakes. I think it was just oranges, but we put them in cupcake, the cases, and put little candles in them. Where now I make, big 2-tiered chocolate cakes filled with lollies and sprinkles and different colors, and whatever they want, we pretty much make. Like this, it was just my daughter's birthday in November, and she wanted a pavlova. So I was like, all right, how are we going to make a pavlova? So made the pavlova, which was just egg whites and sugar, right? Whisking them together, popping them in the oven, and then I was like, well, what am I going to do for cream? So I decided to get icing sugar and Nuttelex, which is, and butter alternative that we use here in Australia that we have. I know that there's a few other ones out there, but that's what we use. So I, beated together some Nuttelex, some icing sugar, and that was my cream. And then I put that on top of I put it into like a piping bag and kind of piped it all over the meringue, and then we put the fruit all over it. Oh my gosh, she loved it. Even she had a little party and all her little friends loved it as well. Like, yeah, there was a lot of sugar in there, but it was like, this is what I love about having food allergies and food intolerances, that it's like we don't have to be shamed by them or feel like it's hard or feel like that they have to miss out. I used to have so many people say to me, oh, your kids are going to miss out. Like, oh, I would hate to, have food allergies like that. Like, oh, I would hate to not be able to eat chocolate, or I'd hate to not be able to have these certain foods. And I'm like, oh, I beg your pardon. Like my kids can have all of that. We just do it in a different way, and it doesn't taste disgusting. It actually tastes really good. So once I kind of mastered these recipes, I ended up opening up a residential kitchen, and then I was creating cupcakes for people with food allergies, and it was really amazing. So I was selling them in the stores, and I remember meeting a family, and I met 2 really amazing families, but one I met, she had Crohn's disease, and she was about 11, and she'd never been able to go to a birthday party and enjoy birthday cake. And they bought the cupcakes, and she was able to take them to the party and join in with her friends and be able to sit and share cake. And it was just absolutely amazing. And what was really cool as well, another family I met, her son had a peanut allergy. Now, I was just focusing on milk and soy, but I wasn't using peanuts in my recipes. And he was able to have those cakes as well. So after he'd finished work, I think he was about 15, I think, he could then, just binge out on just not binge out, but just sit and enjoy a chocolate cake. Like, yum. So that's so after I did that, I decided, I was like, I need to start showing people how to make this. What I want to do is I want to share and teach how other parents or other people who have food allergies or food intolerances can create their own amazing meals. I love being able to get any recipe and trying to make it safe, which is really fun. So that's where I created my cookbook. So it's the Abby's MSPI Meals Cookbook, and in there I share, so many of the recipes that are my kids' favorites that are, suitable for anyone who can't have milk or dairy and can't have soy. But also in there as well, I put in some alternatives, like if you can't have eggs or if you can't have nuts, or if you can't have wheat. So I wanted to share that with you all today. So if you are, someone who is struggling with food allergies or food intolerances, and even on the mindset, like if you're a parent or someone who's just like feeling like this is the end of the world or doesn't have love for the food intolerance, hit me up, follow me on Facebook. It's Abby's MSPI Meals. I'm on there. Let's have a chat if you like to. If you have a recipe and you're like, hey, how can I make this safe? Hit me up. Let's see what we can create. Let's see what we can do. But also I want to share as well is that I'm doing a promotion where I have 100 of my cookbooks. They're printed, and I want to give them away for free. Like, it's Christmas. I want to do it. I want to share this. So if you want to grab yourself a copy, I'm going to put a link in. It's for free. I'm just asking for you to pay postage and handling. So if you've got anyone who has food allergies or food intolerances, or their baby is just like not really doing very well with the foods that they're eating, or even if you want it for yourself, hit me up. I'll share the links. I wish you all a very, very happy Christmas and a safe New Year's. Thank you all for listening, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.